Karibu sana. This is Biology Form 1 lesson. My name is Delvin Wenani, Maths Biology teacher, Geteti Secondary School, Girigil. I'm doing introduction to biology. That is the first topic. You can be able to reach us. You can be able to reach me through the contacts. You can also like this Facebook page for more information. So let us begin and start by looking at the introduction to biology. That's the preview that we have. We shall also look at the branches of biology. And at the end of the lesson, we are going to have an assignment for you guys so that you can be able to do at home. So in introduction to biology, first of all, we shall be able to know the definition of biology. That biology is a branch of science that deals with the study of living things. Living things here, we are talking about the living organisms, that is the plants, so the animals. All those ones are living, plants and animals that are living. So biology is also derived from two words, those two Greek words, bios, because the bio, then you have the logos, and the two are Greek words. And bios means life, while logos means knowledge. Now when you look at this, we are saying biology has a branch of science deals with plants, when we are seeing there. So that deals with animals, a group of animals, we are seeing them. All those ones are studied under this wonderful part of science called biology. Biology has also some branches. That's our next thing we're going to look at. It has branches. The first branch, remember, biology has three main branches. That is from the current syllabus. Biology has three branches. One is botany, and botany is generally the study of plants. All plants are studied in botany, and those people the scientists who study plants, call them the botanists. So plants, if you want to become a botanist, then you study plants. Another main branch is what we call the zoology. Zoology is actually the study of animals, and there you can see animals there. That is another main branch of biology. And those people who study, or the scientists who specify or specialize in zoology, are called zoologists. Then the third main branch of biology is what we call the microbiology. Now this is just the study of microorganisms, or what we call the microbes. And we are using the microbes because they cannot be seen by the naked eye. So they must be, for you to be able to access them, you must be able to see through a microscope. You must use a microscope, whether light microscope or an electron microscope. Those are not the only branches. We have so many other branches. And some of the other branches of biology include the entomology. Now, entomology is basically the study of insects, all the kinds of insects, butterflies, houseflies, name them, the dragonflies, and etc. All of them are done under entomology. And if you aspire to be to study insects, then you'll become an entomologist. That is the study of insects. The other branch is called virology. Now, virology is generally the study of viruses. These viruses, a good example of viruses is HIV. It's a virus, that's human immunodeficiency virus. And then you have the latest one, which is known as coronavirus. We also have so many other viruses that are studied under virology. So if you want to study the viruses, then you become a virologist. Then the other branch of biology is what we call the genetics. Genetics generally is the study of inheritance and variation. In inheritance and variation, here you'll study how you are different from your parents, how you are alike to the parents, some of the features that you obtain from parents, some of the characteristics, the appearance, the looks, behaviors, everything is studied under the genetics. So these genetics, we look at the genes that are inherited and how these genes affect the offspring. That is, or in layman's language, we call them the generation or the children, so, the offspring from the parents. Then the other branch is called embryology. Embryology, from the word embryo, this basically is just the study of embryos and their development. And you can see there, that is an embryo developing. So when you study how that embryo develops and how it matures, then we shall say you are doing embryology and you become an embryologist. Then we have another branch which is called biochemistry. Now, bio is actually, you can see it's like a combination of two names, biology and chemistry. So biology and chemistry, that simply is the study of chemical processes which are occurring in living organisms. Now, as a living organisms, you have cells, and there's a lot of chemical processes that occur in the cells. This include a very nice chemical process like respiration. And when respiration is taking place, as we shall study earlier later on, I'll be doing also respiration later on. You discover that inside our cells, there's a lot of chemical reactions that are taking place. And as a result, for you to be able to understand, you'll have to undergo something called a biochemistry study. That is, you'll be analyzing the chemical processes and how they are occurring in a living organism. We are saying in a living organism because of the word bio. Then we are using chemicals because of the chemistry. And we have another one, is called ecology. Ecology basically is the study of interrelationships between organisms or living organisms and the environment. How do you interact with the environment? How do you associate with the environment? How do you mingle with the environment? And here we look about how living organisms depend on each other and how they depend on each other. Means the environment. Anything closer to us, that is the environment. How is the neighbor making you better? How is the weather making you better? How is the air making you better? So anything around us is called, anything around us, how we study, how is it related to us, is called ecology. We also look at how when one factor is affected, how does it affect us? Then in cytology, there's another branch of biology known as cytology. This is basically the study of cells. And we have two types of cells. We have the animal cells, we have the plant cells. The other simple cells that we shall look at, they be either belonging to either of the side. Either is a plant cell or an animal cell. Remember, under the living organisms, we only have two living organisms. We have plants or animals. You're either a plant or an animal. So if you have cells, then you have either an animal cell or a plant cell. And we shall look at so many factors and the other as we move on. Then there's another one branch known as the mycology. This is basically the study of fungi, what we call fungi. And now the fungi are two types. There are two types of fungi that we know. There are useful fungi and then there are harmful fungi. Like what you have here, we have the mushroom as an example of because they are edibles, those ones they can be eaten. Then you have another one that is causing some rash, that is affecting the skin, that is another fungi which may be harmful to us. So the mycology has either the fungi that are useful or the ones that are harmful. Then we have another branch known as taxonomy. Taxonomy is simply the study of classification of plants and animals. How are plants classified? We classify plants and we classify animals. Like what we have here, we have an example of an animal, and this one is called the Ursus actors. The Ursus actors is a type of an animal that has been classified, and from the classification you can be able to see that is trying to put an organism to where it belongs, classifying it. Then we have another branch known as bacteriology. This is the study of bacteria, purely bacteria. And if you aspire to be one, bacteriology, you become a bacteriologist. Then you have another branch known as paleontology. Paleontology is just the study of fossil. We can see one fossil there, and that one is a fossil of an animal which we believe from the records that must have lived long before even the humans came. So from the record, from the fossils, from the remains, we can be able to tell through some scientific proofs, that is, for example, that by determining the number, the carbon in the bones, that is carbon dating, etc. We can be able to tell how old a fossil is, how old a remain is. And through collection of these, the scientists have been able to prove that actually these animals were in existence. The dinosaurs, that they were some of the largest ever lived organisms, but they are no longer in existence at the moment. These fossils are collected and assembled, and they're able to tell. Now, with that, we've come to the end of that lesson. And I would like now to ask a question, that is, like to ask you to state and explain any other branches of biology that you have known that have not been discussed. Thank you very much. Asante sana.